Welcome to Shaping Freedom with Lisane Basquiat, the podcast where we help you unlock your potential and redefine what it means to be free. I'm your host, Lisane Basquiat. I'm a former corporate executive, a life strategist, and the founder of Shaping Freedom. With a background spanning corporate, artistic, and personal development, I bring a unique perspective to empowering others. Listen in to discover inspiring stories and practical insights that will help you reclaim your life and rewrite your narrative. My intention is for you to gain the tools and motivation to be free in your relationships, your communities, and within yourself. This, my friends, is Shaping Freedom.
We've just spent 2 days.
2 days.
Lots of hours together in this room with lots of people having lots of conversations about different topics.
I know. 5 interviews, something like that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.
Jeez, how do you feel?
I feel good.
Okay.
I feel, I feel complete. I feel like this particular season coming up is comprised of a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
And some things that have been straggling.
Yes.
Because of all the things that have been going on that we're going to talk about.
Well, our process for the past 4 or 5 years has been so different. Mm-hmm. So it's really exciting to have this change because, I don't know, it feels like an upgrade.
It's like 2.0. It's not a rebrand.
Right. It's like Shaping Freedom with Lisane Basquiat 2.0.
2.0. Capital 2.
Yeah.
Capital 2.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's exciting. So how do I feel? I feel good. Yeah. I feel complete. I feel a little bit like I've been blah, 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 for 2 days. But I also feel really good because it's like I did a post about this yesterday on Facebook.
Oh.
I feel like I've put all the things that are truly just Lisane Basquiat on the shelf.
You mentioned this in one of the conversations we've had over the past 2 days. Yeah, and I can see that. But you've been really busy.
Yeah, so on the shelf, there's no judgment about it, but it is the truth. And I counted days. I let Google count for me, but I counted days. So between...
Wait, what does that mean?
I'm going to tell you what it means. I'm serving it up, Brian.
Okay, good.
March 13th, 2020.
Whoa.
Okay?
Jeez, that's a long time ago.
I know. And that was the day of the shutdown here in California.
Yeah.
And I was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay? And I immediately went into triage mode for Hera Hub Carlsbad, for my personal life, for all the things.
Yeah.
So between March 13th, 2020 until January 31st of 2024, I was going a million miles a minute, it felt like.
Wait.
And those are 1,419 days.
Wow. What happened to Hera Hub? That kept going,
we went online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Hera Hub is a co-working space and business accelerator.
Right.
And we took the business online, a co-working business took it online. So immediately on the 13th, we went into hours of Zoom calls every single day. And we don't have to relive the whole pandemic thing, but but for me, that was the start of a profound and life-altering chapter, because I went from that to what was happening in the world, straight into working on the exhibition with my sister.
Yeah. And every once in a while, I was involved in a random podcast recording.
Exactly. Very random.
They were just like,
what about now?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll fit it in here. Right. And then we'd have this great conversation with a guest.
Yeah.
And it would be plugged into a day of 12 hours of meetings and things. And then you'd say, okay, so send the intro and outro. And I'd be like, yeah, yo, I'm going to do it. I got it. And I wouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. And I would go on to other things.
I mean, it's easy to just
leave it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what's been going on. And now here we are. It's 2024, like 4 years. Wow. And we did release episodes.
Yeah, we did.
The last episode that we released was at the end of 2023. That was with Kevin Powell. It was an amazing conversation. Yeah. I'm actually going to be on his Sirius XM by the time this goes timing? Live. I know. I would have been on his Sirius XM show in New York. That's a brand new show for him.
Is I'm doing that in a when you're heading weeks. Over there?
It's one of the things
you're heading over there soon.
I am.
Okay.
I am. So now here we are, and we made the decision as a team that the way we were doing things was necessary for the time.
Yeah.
And that now it's time to focus, prioritize, and really honor and pour into this.
I mean, and look at the show now.
I know.
Come on.
There are so many cameras. There are just 2 people in here, and there are so many cameras, so many lights, so much happening. But it feels so good. It feels so good to finally just put attention, energy, and heart and passion into this podcast.
It is happening because, I mean, the last 2 days have been so productive. Got so many great interviews. Okay, wait. So I guess first you should tell us what we're expected to see over the next coming weeks.
Yes. So this is officially kind of the season premiere episode, right? Like
this
what we're going to be doing.
This is not really an episode.
Not really. It's just like a, hey, we are here and we are doing wonderful things. And my glasses are stuck on my hair. Okay. So what can you expect? Well, first of all, the first episode is dropping on, I pushed that so far away from myself.
July 11th, I think.
Thank you. July 11th. Yes. So on July 11th, we're going to release a conversation that we had with Leah Haberman.
I know a little bit about this.
You do?
Well, I was there.
Well, tell us. What is it about?
Well, I guess my biggest takeaway from it, as maybe a soon-to-be parent at some point, is social media is pretty terrifying, and I didn't grow up with it, and so she is a consultant of some kind, right? She's a social media,
but she's a big deal in the world of social media and social media marketing. She was also invited to the White House.
Oh, geez. So she's like,
them. She's the social media guru.
But just 2 different ways on how to approach social media handling and the positives and the negatives, I think, of what social media is. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a very fascinating conversation.
It's an amazing conversation. Yeah. It's about, social media from a parenting perspective, but then also from the perspective of how it's in our lives every day and how to really create some boundaries and accountability around it.
Yeah. So July 11th is when we are starting
the official.
And then every week after that.
And every week after that, like, this is it. We're in it. We're doing it.
Okay,
right?
Give me some of the other names. What else we have?
It's an amazing season. I'm so excited. And the interesting thing is that some of these conversations, full disclosure, happened months ago.
Totally.
And some months
And you'll
ago.
be able to tell if you're watching the video.
Exactly.
Which ones were obviously done in this space and which ones were done wherever in the world Lisane is.
Yes. So speaking of space, what space? Where are we?
This is the studio for Straw Hut Media, our studio here on Melrose in Los Angeles.
In West Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. It's so funny. I felt so good pulling up and walking into this room, into this space, because it feels good. It feels really good. We have like the brick walls. I grew up with a brick walled kitchen. So instantly I felt at home.
Like I really, when we created the space, I wanted it to feel homey.
You said that.
I really wanted it to feel homey. And like this part of it, I think is that feel. And then over there's like the big old podcast table.
But I think it still has that feel
homey
in
vibe.
there.
Good.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love that. I just wanted it to feel that way. I didn't want it to feel like what's the right word?
Like a studio.
Yeah.
You didn't want it to feel cold,
yeah,
right?
Sterile is the word I think I was thinking of, like just like a sterile, just sound panels, studio. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this feels, I mean, look at us. We have like no shoes on, like guests took off their shoes.
Yeah.
It's a totally comfy space. And I remember when you were looking at the space and we talked about it, and you were like, I'm getting ready to move into the space. I really like it and all of that. And it was really nice to come in and be in this vision that you had for Straw Hut Media. Because Straw Hut Media is also doing the 2.0.
Oh yeah, we are growing. And I already need to expand our studio space. Like people want to, record podcasts.
That's
here.
Right. It feels good. It's exactly doing the thing. It's really amazing.
Do you know that we have a line of Shaping Freedom wellness products? Each are beautifully crafted and designed to support you in cherishing your mind, body, emotions, and soul. Carve out a sanctuary in your life with our Luxe sustainable yoga and meditation mats, essential oil candles, and more. Embrace self-care and reflection with every item, lovingly created to enhance your daily practice of spending time on you. Elevate your wellness journey with Shaping Sanctuary Collection because you deserve to feel balanced, nurtured, and inspired. Visit shapingsanctuary.com for more information.
So who else are we talking to? Let's see. Who else do we have? Okay. So again, like we said, there are some episodes that were recorded quite some time ago, and you'll know those because I'm in my home office.
Or in Hawaii.
Or wherever the heck I was at the time. Yeah, but we have some amazing, amazing conversations to share. I'll just run down some of them.
Please.
All right, so we talked about Leah. Shanti Das.
Oh, yeah.
That was an amazing conversation.
I didn't know who this person was when, you invited her to come to the space.
Billy Johnson, actually, Media Repertoire, is actually the person who connected us. He's a PR person for Shaping Freedom.
And she didn't talk about it in this interview, but Billy, after she left, was saying hey, she helped launch the careers for TLC, Outkast, Usher,
worked with Prince. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, what a person.
What an amazing human being, and someone who came from the music industry, was a senior executive within the music industry, had a moment in her life, and has created this movement called Silence the Shame around mental health. And the awareness of mental health, educating people on mental health. She has this app that Microsoft helped her to create called Silence the Shame. So I'm really excited to share that conversation because it's an important one and one that we really do need to be having because mental health is a thing that needs to be prioritized.
Well, and it's a theme for this show.
Yeah.
It's something that you are really passionate about.
Very.
And it's one of the themes throughout, I think, every episode.
Absolutely. And it wasn't intentional, but even going back to the conversations that happened before we came into the studio, so much of this season is about mental health. Mm-hmm. A lot of talk about mental health for men and Black men.
I had a question for you about it. Well, because I'm just so curious. You're so interested in mental health for men specifically.
I am.
And I'm really curious where that comes from because that's another theme that we see through a lot of these conversations that you have. And I'm just how did it come about? Why are you so focused on it? Can you tell me?
Yeah. I love men. Okay. I love men. I had an amazing father. I had an incredible brother and have really unique unicorn-like men in my life. I have amazing men in my life. You're one of them. And I think that in the discourse around humans, men and women, and the ongoing conflict between men and women, sometimes we can lose sight of the fact that you can't have the conversation about health and about emotional well-being without including the other part of our human family.
I think what's just so interesting to me is that you make it clear. It's like you're really passionate about men, whereas like people talk more broad, you know, and it's like, but you're like, I see something spark in you, and it's like about men, or even more specifically Black men, you know, and I just like, I want to figure it out. I don't know what it really
is that, you know, this world is challenging, and it's very challenging for all of us. It's very challenging for Black men. And I'm not suggesting, and I don't believe that it's any more challenging for Black men than it is for Black women. And I also know that if we're going to, the work I do is about family legacy. And if we're going to repair our families, if we're going to integrate more and higher quality emotional and mental well-being, we have to do it in concert and in communication with men. And one of the reasons why I get so excited about interviewing men is because, for example, I own Hera Hub Carlsbad.
Yes.
And it's a female-focused space.
Yes.
And I live in San Diego. And San Diego is the heaven of women. There are a lot of women in San Diego, right? And I get that. And I think that we as women, and I know that women need safe spaces to grow, to talk, to heal, to be in community. And you don't heal when you turn your back on the conversations that need to happen.
I never clocked. I mean, I knew Hera Hub was the space for women, but I just didn't connect the two between so it's not, I don't know. It's about both. It's about both.
And it's about inclusivity.
Yeah.
And it's about, I have seen the most profound healing moments take place in a room where women felt very comfortable talking about the issues that were happening in their lives. And then a man enters the room.
I've seen, of course.
And the conversation shuts down.
Yes.
And what I have enjoyed in the work that I do with groups of people is creating a bridge between the two. Because when we sit down and listen to a man who may not be our man or our brother or our father, but the voice of a man, it gives us the opportunity to ask the questions that we want to ask about the ways that we don't relate to each other in a healthy way.
Okay. All right.
So it's really no person is an island unto themselves. And that's the reason why I like having the conversations with men.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I think we can do better.
There's a lot of them coming up.
There are a lot of men on this. Man Central. Let's see, who else? Speaking of men, Robert Young. He's another one where that conversation is about the delicate balance between purpose and passion. He's a filmmaker. He's currently working on 2 films. One is titled Undisputed.
About something
Lennox
Lewis. Yes.
Yeah.
Boxing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And it's undisputed, meaning undisputed champion of the world heavyweight. Right. And so he has that film, and then he has another film that's a little more personal to him that he's also working on in parallel.
Yeah.
And during this conversation, I'm kind of encouraging him to get
to
that one for sure. Chuky Okobi, who is a former NFL player who turned spiritual and mental guide. He's a Huna brother.
That's where you met him?
I met him at Huna, and he also studies and practices and teaches NLP.
Because that was virtual.
That was a virtual conversation.
Where does he live?
He's on the West. He's in California, I think. I'm pretty sure that he's in California.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a great conversation. That was really nice, and it was nice for us to. It was nice to talk to someone where we share the same language.
Yeah, I'm sure people that are listening to this know, like, you've been going to Huna. You've been studying Huna for how many years?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't even know. A long time.
Maybe 10.
Okay,
yeah.
That was what I was going to guess.
Yeah, it's about 10, I think.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to talk to someone publicly about that experience and about Huna. Dr. Raquel Martin.
Yeah.
So she is a licensed clinical psychologist and a professor at Tennessee University. And she is on the social media internets. And what I love and appreciate about this woman is she is as raw can be in her conversation about Black mental wealth.
like, what is that? Like, can you explain what that is? Like a little bit? I mean, I know she's going to go into it probably much further, but like, what is that?
I also talk a lot about generational wealth, and I think that we focus a lot on generational wealth from the perspective of money. What we can give, what gets inherited, what we pass down from generation to the next around money. And I think that there needs to be more focus and awareness that we're passing physical and material items down, but we're also passing emotional and mental patterns, behaviors from one generation to the next. And I believe that we are wealthier when there is a focus on what we're passing down and what we're sharing with the people that we're around.
Yeah, you don't really see that a lot, I feel like, anymore. But like, you go to different cultures all over the world, and like, okay, in Japan they're doing this, and I feel like this family does this, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years or something like that. That something is, whatever it is being passed down. And I guess I don't see that ever. It's definitely not something my family does.
But you are doing it.
You think so?
You have to be. There's something that you stepped into adulthood.
Yeah.
You stepped into adulthood.
Sure.
With a cloak.
Sure.
That encompassed everything that is you, Ryan Tillotson, at your core, the being that we're calling Ryan Tillotson.
Yeah.
And whatever your caretakers flowed to you.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't like a purposeful, like,
right, that's what I'm saying. So we're passing things along, whether we intend to or not.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the topics that we're talking about a lot is burnout, because I've lived through it. And I've known how to work through burnout for a very long time. And I've watched myself over the last few years really skirt with burnout. And what I find also is that sometimes the thing that we are so traumatized by as adults, those experiences and moments that we point to are often just moments where we encountered a caretaker who was themselves burnt out.
Interesting.
So if you take anger or whatever it is that you come into adulthood with, and you're like, oh, my parent did this or did that.
Sure.
Sometimes if you really peel back the onion, it's like a person who was burnt out and who didn't have the tools and who couldn't speak the language of self-care and well-being.
Yeah.
So that's what generational wealth
I like it.
is. That's what she means by it, and that's what it is for all of us.
Well, I just love the idea of clocking these things and passing it down correctly, or knowing what your actions and how they're going to be translated, That's something that's hard. Again, I'm not a parent yet, but like, that's something that I'll try to be aware of as I parent.
And it's even just in our interactions with the people that are around us.
Sure.
When you take care of yourself, you are a better friend, lover, parent, brother, son, whatever those relationships are. That it's just the human experience.
Yeah.
And so the bottom line of it, the simplicity of it, is really to take care of ourselves and be aware of how we're walking the planet and what we're doing, so that we aren't perfect.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect. It's just about being more aware.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday. You were hangry. By the end of the day, like, neither one of us ate. And by the end of the day, it was like, oh man, like we left here kind of depleted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was rough.
Right. But you have a semblance of emotional and mental health to you, right?
That's good. I'm glad. I hope so.
Right.
That's great.
And I do. And so we were able to be in that moment, in that space where we were both feeling discomfort.
Right.
And we were able to walk away, say goodnight, come back today and say hello.
Yeah.
Right. So how many times in people's homes do they encounter that same situation where somebody pops off on the other person and they're like,
Sure.
I'm so mad at you because 3 days ago you blah, 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 you know? So it's really about that, just like being aware of how you're showing up, how other people are experiencing you.
HeraHub Carlsbad is a co-working space and member community designed to empower entrepreneurs. More than just a workspace, HeraHub Carlsbad is a business accelerator and a connected network of successful entrepreneurs. Imagine a collaborative, serene, and spa-inspired environment where you can thrive. Our unique community allows each member to be both a guide and a student, fostering leadership and continuous growth for both you and your business. Experience an uplifting, supportive atmosphere that will elevate your entrepreneurial journey. For more information about HeraHub Carlsbad or to schedule a tour, visit herahub.com/Carlsbad. We also have locations in Temecula, Irvine, Washington, D.C., and HeraHub Carlsbad is one of 3 HeraHub locations in San Diego, the others being in Mission Valley and La Jolla.
Sounds like a similar thing to the Be Greater Than, which I don't know if you're going in order of all the people. But,
no, we're just throwing them in there. So this is not the order. You just pay attention, stay tuned for this season. We don't have a number to the season. We should name the season.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Maybe we'll name the season.
Okay, we'll think, yeah.
But segue into Be Greater Than. So today we had a conversation with the Be Greater Than team that's comprised of Ashley Everett, Randy Bonds, and Jasmine Harper. And so they've been friends for years.
Yeah.
Ashley Everett was a lead dancer for Beyonce for 17 years.
Still dancing
on The Masked Singer or something, right? And Jasmine Harper is also
still a dancer. Also.
Yes,
yeah.
And Randy's a publicist.
Yeah.
And these 3 people came together to create this. We called it a movement. We decided it's just a movement.
It feels like a movement.
Yes. And it's around well-being and self-care and taking care of yourself and being greater than whatever fill in the blank. I loved that conversation. It went on. It's a long episode.
Yeah. And to be fair, there's still a piece of it missing.
Yes.
And it'll be longer.
It's going to be a long one, and either get some popcorn and consider it a Netflix and chill episode, or we'll break it into 2. We'll figure that one out. But I felt very filled by that conversation because there's so much alignment.
You guys all clicked for sure.
We did, and there's so much alignment in where they want to help people to be.
Totally.
And where I want to help people to be. And so there was an incredible synergy there. Great conversation.
I can see you guys all working together.
I know.
Sure.
And I spoke on a panel at an event they had a couple of weeks ago in downtown LA, which was really amazing. Like, they create great community, great space. Who else? Abby Kamen. That was a really good conversation. I think that's happening sometime in August. And that conversation was interesting because she wrote a book called Generation We.
Yes.
And the conversation was about trauma.
Okay.
And generational trauma. Why are you laughing?
Well, I'm just like these themes. It's just these.
All of them.
All of them. That's all.
And it wasn't planned.
I know.
It wasn't planned at all. And but what's great about this is that there's a different perspective and a different way for each one of these. If you listen to the entire and watch the entire season, you're going to get something really profound and helpful out of every single episode. So make sure you bring your journal.
Take some notes.
Yeah. Apply it, soon after so that it becomes habit.
A lot of actionable tips, I think, in all of them too, so how you can take action immediately, I think.
Yeah. And that was intentional. In the conversations, what we really wanted to do was to make sure that people knew how. Like, we talked about the problem.
Yeah.
And there really is an intentional direction of, applying practical application. One of the things that was really interesting about the conversation with Abby was that she shared, and I'm smiling and kind of chuckling at just the ways that we've shifted our thoughts just from a couple of generations ago, where her grandmother lost her husband, I think it was.
Yeah. Or she lost her husband, right?
The grandmother lost her husband.
Okay.
And allowed herself only 24 hours to grieve.
That's
and
insane.
Then got into the work of whatever the work was.
I don't know if I could do that.
I know, but I think about my own dad,
Yeah,
and my own mom who went through things that today we would give ourselves a minute and a beat.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think there's anything better about that approach. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I think if something happens, if there's loss, there's grief, process it today.
Totally. Well, I mean, like, yeah, I remember having a breakup from a girlfriend long time ago, and people just being like, you got to get out, do
just
things,
get out there,
go
start
do it.
dating.
Yeah. So it was basically a similar idea, just like get it off your mind, go do be busy kind of thing,
That's not how it works.
Didn't work for me.
Right. And I've had similar situations where the times in my life where I've tried to just like push it under the rug, keep it going, right. I've been able to do that, but that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And eventually it comes back.
Yeah. You're going to deal with it at some point,
exactly.
Right?
Or someone else is going to have to deal with it because you didn't deal with it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was a really great conversation. And I think we talked also about her son and some things that happened there where she was able to help him to work that through. Who else? There's a lot of people. Ian Davis, we talked to him, and this conversation was about creatives, business acumen, and wellness, and kind of the intersection.
Right. I can't remember the name of his company.
The Age of the Creative.
Okay. How would you describe what it is he's doing?
I met him at the Be Greater Than event a few weeks ago.
Oh, the same one that we were talking about.
Right.
Okay.
He was on one of their panel discussions, the panel discussion that I moderated.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about what he's doing to me was that it reminded me very much of the work that we do with entrepreneurs through HeraHub. But this is for creatives.
Okay. But I mean, creatives are or need to be an entrepreneur.
And I think that's the disconnect.
Got it. Okay.
People are like, I'm a creative. Yeah, you got to be a business person.
Otherwise, how are you going to make a living?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And,
so that's...
Right. And so that's what I found so juicy about the work that he does, because it's like, he's showing creatives how to make a business.
Love it.
Out of the thing that they're creating.
That's
which I think is
really important.
Absolutely. So needed. It was a great conversation. He actually did a meditation. Oh, yeah. Did you feel it? Did you, or were you just like, would you two open your eyes? You're like, would you two open your eyes and get down to the conversation? I think I opened my eye at one point. I'm like, he's not even in it. But it was helpful because we both came in a bit of, I know I was in a flurry, and he kind of came in had some things with his children. He has two very young kids. And he was just like, how's this? Let's breathe. And I'm like, yes.
You were in a rush to get here, running late. And I had his kid thing. And it's like, okay, let's, No,
and it really helped the conversation. And then we kind of both got very like, hey, so.
Very mellow.
Very mellow. And then Antonio Neves, I think, is the last one. And he talks, again, men's mental health and community.
Very specifically about men's
That's right. And so he actually has this community of men and this movement around men and the mental health of men. I think that those are all of the conversations. There are 9 episodes. So if we missed one, it's a cliffhanger. And
but we are going to keep recording.
We're absolutely going to keep recording.
I think we found some kind of synergy with being in the space and people coming in, and next time I need to eat somewhere in the middle.
That'd be helpful. That'll be very helpful.
But it's like it's really good, and I hope it connects with all the people listening.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope so too. I feel really good about this season. I think it's a very strong one.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're going to keep recording, and I know that the audience will see this 2.0 because we've definitely leveled the conversations up. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you.
I'm happy to help explain the season.
No, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I like that we're doing this because it is in order to, if something is important, you got to show it.
Totally.
You have to give it the energy, the time that it requires. And so for all the times that I have flown to all the corners of the world. It felt really good. While I'm a little tired now because it's been a long couple of days,
Sure.
I feel really happy that I actually invested in this podcast because it is very important.
Yeah. And now like this whole conversation started, it's like, you know, it was put on the side and now it can be a focus.
That's right.
And everyone's going to see that.
That's right.
Because it's great.
Yes.
So
yeah.
July 11th. Leah Haberman.
First episode of the season.
And then after that,
we're all the way through, I don't know.
Into September.
But we're recording every month.
Yeah.
So I think we're finally on track. I think we finally found our stride.
I know.
And what's also amazing, and we talked about this with the Be Greater Than folks, is that I think because we are leveling up and putting our hearts and attention on this, it's attracting.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing
I feel like
people.
I already am feeling it. I'm already feeling it.
Me too.
So, yeah.
So stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, if you're new, watch out. If you've been here for a while, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So anyway, that's it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.